Welcome back to the Gold Newsletter channel and welcome back to the floor of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, VRIC 2024. My name is Kai Hoffmann. I'm the @JR Mining Guy on Twitter and the CEO of the Torq Financial Group. Really appreciate you joining us here on this channel for another company update from the floor of the conference. And I'm joined by Shawn Wallace. He's the chairman and CEO over at Torq Resources. Shawn, thanks so much for joining us here in the studio.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to talk about Torq because you're down in Chile now and
That's right.
copper gold exploration in the Maricunga Belt.
Yep.
Love to learn a lot more. First time on the channel. Let's start with an introduction.
Sure. Torq is a junior exploration company, and I want to be clear about that. We have no grand designs to build any mines. We're going to go find them, define them, and hopefully have a good transaction at a premium to whatever we may be trading at that time. And then we go off and we do it again. Why we like Chile and why Torq decided to sort of make Chile its place to be is because of the mineral endowment that's there. So, you know, there's a number of belts that are very well endowed. They have major mining companies on it, producing metal, making money, paying taxes, being corporate citizens. So, you know, these are very important things in a modern world in terms of having ease of entry. Because as we all know, this is all wrought with risk and so forth. So it's our job to mitigate that risk as much as we can. Copper gold, I think that's obvious. I think the viewers are probably, if they're on this channel already, are up to speed on why they would want to invest in copper and gold. But it's nice to have a significant input from both those metals.
Absolutely. And another question sort of to get everybody on the same level playing field here is capital structure. We need to talk about that as well. It runs a bit through shares out, cash position, potential options and warrants. Yeah,
we have about 135 million shares out. I think it's about 170 fully diluted. We've got about $5.3 million in the bank. We just completed a financing here in the first week of January.
Fantastic. Yeah. Since you were on that, how much did you raise? What were the terms?
Yeah, again, it was a sign of the times. We did a much smaller financing than our group in particular is used to doing. And also, you know, a lot smaller than what this project really needs, but it'll do for now. You know, we want to, you know, we're very anti-dilution. And so it would pain us to dilute the company at the low stock prices that we're experiencing presently, and as a result of this sort of apathetic market we find ourselves in.
Market is a good term, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we raised a lot of money last year as well. It's a bit of a bifurcated market as well, I think.
It is.
Later stage companies have been quite successful raising capital, but the earlier stage you go, it's been a struggle.
Yeah. So for the risk on, I'd say call it the higher the risk. And, you know, as I stated earlier, we are pure exploration, therefore the biggest risk, but presumably the biggest reward also. But, you know, people have tended to stray away from that. Actually, if you look at the big stocks on the Dow, so there's only about 30 or 40 stocks in the world that are making these indexes look like they're so great and everything. Small caps are having a hard time, irrespective of what industry they may or may not be in.
Absolutely. Let's talk a bit about Torq in country, like a bit of the history as well, getting to where we are at today.
Sure.
Because I think you had your first drill program ever in 2023 on the Santa Cecilia project?
Yeah, Santa Cecilia. Yeah, so we acquired Santa Cecilia in 2021, late 2021. Then we had to get a community agreement. Then, you know, it was misleading, I think, to people because when we acquired the project, it had 2 drill holes in it. But the underlying owner was a very successful Chilean entrepreneur, so he just went and drilled 2 holes. One of them got 900 and some meters of like 0.5% copper equivalent. And that's really what led us to Santa Cecilia, made us covet that asset so much. We felt that there's going to be higher grade. It's going to be massive. It's also sandwiched between the Norte Abierto joint venture between Barrick and Newmont. So it's well situated. But we had to rewind and go back to the start. We couldn't go up there like a bunch of drunken geologists poking holes because obviously, as I mentioned earlier, capital's very dear right now. And so we had to go back and sort of rewind the project and do all the preparatory work. So that took several months. So we managed to get that work done. At the same time, we achieved a 7-year community agreement, which is very important. So we can now work unfettered for the next 7 years. We've got a great relationship with the community. So we managed to get 2 holes in last year. Again, very successful. We stepped out 700 meters from that initial hole that we predicated our acquisition. And we managed to increase the gold grade by 78%. And so big depths, exactly what we'd expect. So we're very eager to get back in there and see if we can follow up on those good results.
Absolutely. Let's talk about use of proceeds from that financing and following up on those results. What's the plan for this year? Have you announced?
We actually just the other day had a news release saying that, you know, the capital is going to be used to drill Santa Cecilia. And then, we'll see what happens from there. Those results will dictate what the next thing move is.
Any meterage or anything, like any more details?
Probably about 2,000 meters. We'll start on right now with one drill, and we'll see how it goes. And what we'll go.
Summer right now down in Chile.
That's right.
So you're starting to drill right away, or is there a bit of a delay?
Yeah, we'll have a news release about the precise commencement here in the next week or so. But I'm going to say it's going to be latest first week of February. We'll have in the drill turn. And so you're right. You accurately, it is right in the middle of the summer there. So these are the easier, the cheaper, the more efficient times to be doing work at that altitude.
Well, what's the goal of the program? Like, what's the exact 2,000 meters? Where are you putting
Well, what we're trying to do is, so the drill holes that we've got to date are good, and the grade's increasing, but we have both empirical reasons and geological reasons to want to keep moving in this one direction, where we believe these gold-copper porphyries always have a center, and that is sort of the economic center of gravity. We can tell by the geology, the alteration, and the grade, how it's transitioning, that we haven't found that yet, so that's great. We're getting this excellent grades, but we're still not in the main event. And one nice thing that I love about gold-copper porphyries, and I've worked on numerous of them over my career, there's always that sweet, it's somewhere. And the width, the geometry, the grade of that will then dictate how much of all the rest of it makes it into the pit. So it's exciting times when you start tagging into that. Start seeing how big can it be? Was this the grade, and so on and so forth.
Runs a bit through the targeting process as well. Like you have some historical data, but what kind of other, let's say, groundwork have you done?
Yeah, so we did full geochem. In this particular project, even though it's been known about since the late 80s, it never really had any proper mapping done on it. So people thought that the porphyries didn't daylight, they didn't come to surface. Well, in fact, they do in several locations. And so we've been able to sample those rocks, get excellent gold copper grades. And we've also used geophysics. Obviously, that's a tried and tested tool for these sort of deposits, the IP geophysics. And so we've got sort of the Cadillac of surveys done on that, and we exposed numerous targets as well. So we're target rich, that's for certain.
Absolutely, that sounds fantastic. Chile, it's been in the news, not always for positive reasons. So I want to see how things have changed, because other company got a permit the other day as well. So it seems like the environment is changing overall, legal environment and sentiment maybe a little bit in Chile as well. So I'm curious what you're picking up. What's your feedback on that?
Yeah, well, let's face it, good news doesn't sell very well. So there's always people that traffic in that always try to find the other stuff. But Chile, like most countries on Earth, are now transitioning to a kinder, gentler version, a more socially responsible way of doing things. And so that's what you see, the movement you saw there. And any time you've had a conservative government in somewhere for a long time, you see there'll be a move to pull things way to they call it the left. I don't really love that way of doing it, but people understand that. And that's what happened there. But then you see they had a referendum, and it pulled it right back to center, exactly where you think it would be. So we were never anxious, but it did cause people to have questions about the country. We all saw what happened. The referendum happened, and what I liked about it was an amazing display of democracy at work. I mean, there's 15 different regions in Chile. They all voted the same way. Everybody got out and voted. There was zero violence. You tell me if you had tried to rewrite the Constitution of the United States, there wouldn't be some polarizing issues there that wouldn't result in some unfortunate activity.
Absolutely. A lot of polarizing activities in the U.S. right now.
Indeed.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, without touching the Constitution.
Exactly. You don't need that.
No.
You don't need that.
Or Canada, for that matter. I'm not trying to pick on the U.S. Anyway, when you start touching the Constitution, people get pretty revved up.
Absolutely.
Chile, they didn't. It's a rational, calm, professional country. And the other thing I have to mention that I love about Chile, having worked all around the world, and then I end up having to export expertise, geologists, geophysicists, all geoscientists of all stripes. Chile's got them all. And they're as good or better than anyone we got here. Hallelujah. I don't have $15,000 plane tickets that money can now go in the ground. And we can help support the local mining community, which obviously is a plus when you're trying to earn your ESG stripes nowadays as well.
Fantastic. So to recap the conversation, Shawn, as well, you mentioned it to a degree already, but next news release, next catalyst for the company.
Yeah, the catalysts are going to be drilling and results. And on all our projects, we have done all the early stage work. So it might have seemed that we were a bit slow out of the gate, but we are not the type of group, we're technically driven. So if the market says go drill, but we're not ready to drill, we're not going to drill. The science has to say, put a drill hole there, or we're not going to do it. It costs too much money. and it makes no sense.
I like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the way it's supposed to be.
That's
proper ground truthing first, and then
rational thought.
Start hitting it with a little drill that's this big.
Yeah.
With a diameter this big. Fantastic. Shawn, great updates. Really good luck with the drill program this year. Really looking forward to some results coming out of there. It should be interesting.
Great. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you like this introduction to Torq Resources here on the Gold Newsletter channel that I'm hosting together with our good friend Brien Lundin. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a like. What do you think about Torq Resources? What do you think about Chile? What do you think about the chances of hitting their targets down in Chile? Let us know. We want to hear from you. We can relay any questions to the management team, no problem at all. So make use of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with lots more here from the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference.